All right, we got our boy Malcolm M. Hill, the
Malcolm Hill in the
thrill,
house. What's
the
up,
real
man?
deal.
What's
What
up,
it
man? Man, hey,
do?
Malcolm, man, you're a Frisco legend, dog.
Hey, hey,
Legend.
hey.
You're a
He's a
legend.
legend.
Ease up, ease up. What's happening, fellas?
What's
What's
up,
going
man?
on, man?
Life is good over here, man. Life is good. Can't complain.
Okay, well, we're gonna get right into this because one of the things I think that's unique about you that a lot of listeners, even some that know you personally and followed you, whether it was in through high school until your time at Rice or while you were at Rice or even now, you coach and you got some other things
Yes,
that
sir.
you're involved in that we're gonna let you get into a little bit later in this interview. But one of the kind of more known statistics now that I know a lot of high school coaches use because we're in a day where every parent thinks their kid's going to be the next superstar and they're going to go be the
Right,
next big time athlete.
right,
And so
right.
you tend to hear high school coaches use this analogy or use this statistic that says 2%, only 2% of all high school athletes go on to become Division 1 collegiate players.
Yeah.
Um Obviously B Holmes, he was a part of that 2%. I like to tell people I was not a part of that 2%, but I got really good at using the transfer portal in my undergrad. So that's where I can relate to today's student athlete. But our first question, Malcolm, is when did you personally like describe the moment in your life as an athlete, and maybe it wasn't even on the field or I mean, may have been off the field, but describe the moment when you knew that you were a part of that 2%.
Man, quite frankly, man, I had no idea. I mean, we were just,
Mm,
growing up, me and my brother, dad said whatever's in season, that's what you play.
mm,
So
Hmm.
any sport that had a ball in it, we was gonna ball in it. And
Hmm.
quite frankly, when we got to high school, I think freshman, sophomore year, I'm at a new school. Liberty had just opened.
that's
And
Frisco Liberty. If you're
yep,
listening, it's
Yeah, Frisco,
most people are
Texas.
familiar with Frisco now because it's one of the fastest growing districts in the country. But Malcolm was there when it was at the very beginnings of
Yeah,
that momentum phase of its growth. And Frisco Liberty, you opened that campus, right? Which, in fact,
yep,
I'll throw this in there. Frisco Liberty had some breaking news this week when the number one overall
oh
recruit
yeah,
in the state of
yeah. He quit for the
Texas, right? I
season,
mean,
right?
he's number one in Texas now, not just at receiver, right? I mean,
yeah. He
he
like he's top
so
receiver in the nation.
who
Yeah.
was
Yep.
at Frisco Liberty just announced this week that he I think is foregoing the rest of
Yeah, he's
his senior
foregoing the
year to
rest of the
focus on
season.
college.
Yeah, I saw
We
that.
don't need
I
to get
saw
into
that.
all that right now, but I mean, you were kind of the foundation of that program because y'all had a lot of success. So, anyways,
Yeah.
not to cut you off, but I know we've
Nah,
got some
nah, nah,
listeners that
Yeah.
that may make that connection. So,
nah, for sure, for
Liberty
sure.
Red Hawk,
That's it, man. And so, I mean, just open up a new school. Like back then, I know it sounded back then, but a few years ago, it wasn't about like this whole recruiting stuff. Like you just balled to for the love
mm,
of the game.
Right.
And so, one of my teammates, Jay Ajay, who also went to Liberty,
right?
and Cam Brown, we were the first
Yeah,
three to go
I remember that.
D1.
Yeah,
Cam ended up going. He was committed to Minnesota, and I think Coach Cross, I think, got fired, and so that staff left, and he was kind of out of luck, and ended up going to Western Kentucky.
Right.
that's
I
And
right.
remember that. I
Jay
remember
committed
that.
to Boise, man, and we were just getting offers like, what is this? Like we started getting written letters. We didn't know to go to any camps, and
Yeah,
so the 2% kind of just found us, and
found you.
That's awesome.
and quite frankly, we just kind of roll with it and hopefully set the tone for the couple guys
So,
to
so
come
let me ask you
behind us.
this: um, was there a moment though, whether it was in a game, in a practice, maybe it wasn't even until you got to Rice, because I don't know if I fully said this in the beginning, but Malcolm was a defensive back for the Rice Owls, conference champion winning defensive back. And we'll get to what your recruiting class did for the Rice football program in a
No
minute.
doubt.
But was there a moment when maybe you had like just a different type of confidence? Not that you've ever been short on confidence, don't get me wrong.
No,
Um,
no, no doubt,
but
no doubt.
but you had a special kind of swag, a special kind of confidence that you played with. But when did you have that moment that you knew like, man, I belong
Yeah, no doubt.
at the Division 1 level?
I think it was quite frankly, it was after my sophomore year. So
Mm.
crazy sophomore year, probably the craziest time of my life in high school. Struggling in football, got kicked off the basketball team, just kind of bad attitude,
Mm.
and then even going to track and just kind of being selfish. So like Coach Miller, shout out to Coach Miller, he changed my life, man. Just kicked me off the team, and I had to get back to work.
Jimmy,
Yeah,
let's
Jim Miller,
go.
man. Like,
He's out in West Texas right now. I don't know if you know that.
yeah, I think he's at Roosevelt, Lubbock Roosevelt.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And
Mm-hmm.
so, in fact, like he had even after being kicked off, man, he still asked me to come out there and coach with him.
Mm.
Which is, like I said, the man changed my life because not getting kicked off that team and him allowing me to go on with the bad attitude, talking to coaches, disrespecting teammates the way I was, not the best fit. So I knew that right after that, my life had to change as far as my attitude towards the game.
Mm.
Mm.
Like I was taking it for granted, I was going off of talent, and I never really put in work. And when you play whatever's in season, it's kind of hard to like lock in and
Right.
understand that the off season is where you get better.
Mm.
And so I had, for the first time in my life, I was in off season, and I remember Coach Z. He was welcoming me with open arms.
That was
Like,
your
hey, you got,
head high school football
yep,
coach.
Yeah.
Coach Zimmerman.
So
He's at
Coach
Dripping
Miller was your
Springs.
head basketball coach, and Coach Z was your head football
Yep,
coach. Just making sure
yep,
all our listeners are following.
yeah,
So
no
go
doubt.
ahead.
No doubt. And so uh, he told me this is how it's going to go. We're going to put in work. And I don't want to hear any complaining. You're not going to make any excuses. It's not going to be me versus the team. It is, you're just a part of this one body. And so
Mm.
Mm.
kind of bought into it, man. Not even kind of, I didn't have a choice. This is all I wanted to do. And so from that point on, the work, man, was put in.
It,
I didn't look back.
it kind of sounds like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like really you're just as a story of you just stayed the course. Like
No doubt.
once you bought in, you just stayed the course. And it's not that you had like this one moment of validation. It was more of just by continuing to put your nose to the grind, you gained your incremental confidence that you needed for whatever that next step would be, whether it was
No,
a
for sure.
playoff game against God, what was the 2 point? I remember Lincoln.
Dallas Lincoln. Yep.
Yeah.
Dallas
Lincoln.
Lincoln. Well, I mean,
Yep.
whether it was that game or the
Yep.
next season when y'all balled out all year and won a district championship, and then were, I believe, the first Frisco high school to play at AT&T Stadium.
Yep.
They were.
Yep.
They definitely were.
B.
Yep.
Holmes, you and
Yep.
I were at that game.
Yeah, we went to that game.
Yep.
Matter of fact, because I was mad y'all weren't guarding the seam. I still remember that.
Man,
that guy was
don't
killing
even
y'all up the seam.
don't even get
man.
me started, man. Don't even get me started,
I
man.
remember me and Trey going, cover the seam.
All
Getting
I was there
ripped.
for was for the soundtrack that was
No
playing
doubt.
because
No
there
doubt.
was some familiar voices on the music that was
Yeah.
playing. Red, black. Yeah.
That was
Can you
dope.
handle that?
We'll
Yeah,
have to
that
have a
was dope.
whole nother interview, but we
Right.
actually about over a decade ago, Malcolm Hill, Jay Ajayi, and myself made a made an anthem for the high school playoff
Man,
run,
Yeah,
and it
was
that
dope.
was dope.
it
It was
went
dope.
Frisco platinum. I mean,
Hey.
It did,
you got to
man.
give it that.
We can't go
Hey,
nowhere
man.
without hearing it.
You know what I'm saying?
Man, one thing I wanted to ask you this though, Malcolm, because being part of 2% is a lot, but I think one thing, and you could speak to this, going to the next level is like finding the right fit. So correct
Oh,
me if
no
I'm
doubt.
wrong. Like Ali, Frisco was kind of a small city at the time when you were coming out of
Oh,
high
yeah.
school. 'Cause
Very much
I'm
so.
only a few years older than you because I remember like Nick Slaughter, those guys that
Yeah,
started
yeah,
Liberty.
yeah, yep,
They
yep,
were
yep.
freshmen my junior year.
Okay,
But so I kind of followed your recruiting story because it's a big deal if you're getting D1 athletes
no
out
doubt.
of. So I think originally you were committed to Oklahoma State, right? But then you kind of ended up or Rice, or what was that? What was your like recruiting
Yeah, so
thing like, and how did you end up at Rice?
nah, it was good, man. Like I said, we starting to get letters from all over. I played quarterback. I mean, wasn't really a quarterback, just a guy that was
Yeah.
back there that could run. But
Well, you were also a very intelligent football player. Like that's
ah,
one of the
man, I
things
appreciate
I
it, man.
think
I
that
appreciate it.
people. Well, no, but I'm saying I don't think people know that about you, and I only know that about you not because I'm some guru, but like I know a lot of the people that coached you,
For
and they
sure,
all
for
say
sure.
the same thing. Was like his football
For sure.
IQ was
high.
incredibly high, and so I think that translates now into what you're doing now as a coach. But not to cut you
No
off,
doubt.
but I think that was a big part of why you were running the quarterback as well. And then, of course,
No
Gold
doubt.
Six Me. I mean, it was money.
Hey, that's counter. I'll never forget it. That's counter right
Anyways,
there, baby.
so go ahead. Recruiting.
Nah, so recruiting wise, man, Oklahoma State. Shout out to Gunnar Brewer. wherever he is right now. I think it's at Louisville, in fact. Um, he was recruiting me and Jay. I thought we had a good shot to get offered, but they wanted me to play corner. And I remember my dad telling me, he's like, man, if you believe you're a receiver, then you just go do that, even if it
Mm-hmm.
is at a lower level. And he always told me the Marshall Falk story, like
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Marshall Falk turning down these colleges because he wanted to be a running back and he believed in himself. So I was like, cool, I'm the next Marshall Falk. I ain't going
Mm.
nowhere to be DB.
Right.
And
And he went San Diego State, correct?
Yeah, he
yeah,
went
he
San
sure
Diego
did.
State.
Yep, he
Yeah.
sure did.
Okay. Go ahead.
And
Go
so
ahead.
I'm like, okay, I'm the next Marshall Falk. And quite frankly, it didn't end up that way. But um, I was, I didn't get off of Bagram State. I was going to commit to Duke.
Mm.
Mm.
I was going to commit to Duke. It was going to be between them and Rice. I went to a camp out there
Okay.
and shredded it, and I felt good about it, man. And Rice kind of came to the table with kind of like the same stuff. Promised me I could play receiver. I was like, if I could play receiver for you, I'm good. I'll come right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Family from the H.
I
Shout out to
love
all
it.
my people in the H right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sunny side, stand
Right.
up. But uh, yeah, man, I was like, okay. I didn't really care where was gonna go. I just wanted to ball. And a couple cats from this area, Dreyfus Jackson went to Cedar Hill.
Yep.
Yep.
Kind of teamed up with him, Julius White out of Houston as well, and Jalen
Mm-hmm.
Fenner out of there. Man, we just decided to link up and try to do something special.
In
And so,
fact, you said it's Dreyfus Jackson,
yeah,
correct?
Travis Jackson, yes,
B.
sir.
Holmes, you remember you and I went to the Tom Landry Classic
Yep.
when he
That
played
year.
against Allen, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Baller,
yeah, we
absolute
were at
baller.
that game as well, and so and real quick, did you say Oklahoma State didn't offer you or Jay?
No way. Jay went from second team all district our junior year to
I
parade
remember
all
that.
American.
I
And the
remember
best
that.
offer he had at the time was Boise. Not
God.
anybody from Texas came to pick him up. The man went from 5'9", 170 to about
Yeah.
6 feet 200. Come on,
Mm.
Wow.
man. Come on,
Right. Yeah, I
man. And
remember
that's
that. That was a big leap.
no doubt, like dropping the ball. But
Yeah.
and that's not even just for me. I mean, come on. I mean, that's progress.
Right.
That's that's progress, right? So, um,
So you have this, I mean, really too, not to say this any kind of way, but I mean Rice kind of struck gold with this particular recruiting class. Would you
I
agree?
100%.
Um, and I only say that because of what y'all accomplished. Maybe talk about what your recruiting class accomplished while you were at Rice. Kind of where was the program at when y'all all committed?
Okay.
What happened to it while y'all were there, and then what happened after y'all left? Because I think that's a that's a pretty impressive thing that your recruiting class was able to
Yeah.
accomplish.
Yeah, no doubt. Like we got there. Um, I mean, you always fall in love on recruiting visits. They show you the
Mm.
best part of it. And then we kind of got in and we remembered that we didn't see the locker room. And we were like,
Yeah.
what is this?
Right.
Like, y'all ain't show us this locker room. We would have never came here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
like, like the gear. We ain't get no gear. I was like,
Really?
no, man, they was, I ain't gonna lie, man. They was kind of stingy with the gear at first, but rightfully so. I mean, I think they had won the Texas Bowl in 2008, but they had like quality pieces. Bryce
Sure.
Callahan, who's in the league right now,
Mm-hmm.
he's with the Broncos. Chris Boswell with the Steelers. Vance
Couple tight
McDonald,
ends
yeah,
out there.
Vance McDonald, Luke
Yeah.
Wilson,
Yep.
man,
And a
Field
corner,
Gaines,
Gaines. Yeah,
Field,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, Field Gaines,
What
man,
he
and
went
Christian.
like third round too, didn't
Yeah,
he?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Fastest
Yeah.
fastest 40 in the combine.
Yeah.
Remember when
Yeah.
Adidas was doing that thing where you could
Yeah,
win
yeah.
like
With
10,000? Yeah,
Yes.
right,
I
the
think he ended up
Yes.
competition.
winning
Yep.
that. Yeah, it was super dope. And Christian Covington, he was with the Cowboys
Yeah, I remember
a couple
Christian.
years
Yep.
ago
I met
with the
Christian.
Chargers now.
Yeah, I met Christian a couple years ago at a conference
Yeah,
actually.
man,
Yep.
really good dude, man. So, like I said, had quality pieces. So I would hate to say it was just our class, but I think our class
Sure.
brought a different swag to Rice.
Mm.
We thought we were going to do something different. We felt like we had the pieces to do so, and we were just a bunch of guys that got together trying to do something different. And so, sophomore year, we end up kind of getting into some roles where we were starting and can put our imprint on the team.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
I think we end up going, to be honest, probably like we barely made the ball game. I'll tell you that
Right.
right
Right.
now.
Right. Right.
We
Right.
barely
Right.
made the ball. We
Yeah.
was we played in the Armed Forces ball against the Air Force.
Okay.
Okay.
And Jordan Taylor, man, another one I can't forget about, went off on this cat. I was like, oh my God, I feel bad for the dude, man. You know, dude playing for the Air Force, he doing things right for the country. And this dude is he's getting his head snatched on, you know. I'm like, dang, JT. But nah, man. So after that, it's like, okay, we can do this. Like,
Mm.
we're meant to be here. So after going 4-8 freshman year, and then like I said, I think we were probably end up going like
You
six
were
and
bowl
six. Yeah,
eligible.
bowl eligible, like six or
Bowl
six
eligible.
maybe. And then junior year, man, it really just kind of took off. This is like when we're all primed, you kind of know what college is about,
Mm-hmm.
and you kind of lock in. Like, you got aspirations for the league, so everybody knows junior year of high school, junior year of college is the most important.
Mm-hmm.
You got to put good tape out, and so I felt like, man, we just knew what it was, and we ended up just balling. Not really looking back. Conference kind of played into our favor,
Yeah.
and it's kind of the story of how we get to playing like some top teams,
Well,
and
hold
like,
on. Let me interrupt you here because
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I want to start at the. Are we talking about the 2013 season? Right? That
yeah,
was
man.
the year y'all won the conference
Yeah,
championship.
yeah.
Yeah.
First
And I mean,
conference championship in 53 years.
I was about to say, I mean,
That's
that
a
had to
big deal.
be. I was literally about to say that had to have been the first conference championship in 50 years. So, but
Man,
you know that it was 53.
53.
God. Okay, so to start that season, I'm just gonna play a little audio here real quick. So if you're listening at home, I'll drop this audio in here. If you're watching the YouTube, I'm sure our guru here, B Holmes, can drop the clip in. But I just want to see, Malcolm, like, do you remember what I'm about to play for you?
I got a feeling I know where you're going.
A lot of people around college football that
Yeah,
are kind of tired of this.
yeah, me and D Pollard.
Is that really necessary?
Yeah,
You just proved yourself in what you did on the field. That's twice now. Now, we
crazy.
did see some guys harassing him in the first half, faking as if
This
they were
is
signing
the
autographs, and that got
stupidest thing.
Johnny upset. That's going to happen.
This is
That's going to happen. That happens every.
Okay, okay. Do you remember
man,
that, Malcolm?
man, vividly, man. I am,
Because
and more importantly, just the Kevin Sumlin thing. Like, that was the
Coach
funniest thing I've
Sumlin.
ever had.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the funniest thing ever. Like,
I remember
I
that
can't
game.
believe this. This is the stupid. I'm like, I'm watching them, man. Like,
Right.
oh yeah,
So
yeah, that
I
is dumb.
what I would like to know, Malcolm, is because you see it on, like, if you were just watching the video and if you were just listening, basically you see Manziel just chirping
Yeah,
at Malcolm, who
Yeah.
was number 2, if you're watching the video,
yeah,
and
yeah.
then his teammate. And like the dude said, kind of just tried to brush him off, like not even, like, wasn't like y'all were starting anything, but
Nah,
he said
facts.
something because then you walked towards him, put your hands up, and then he walked the other way. Now,
Yeah,
I'm not trying to, like,
look,
say
Hey,
what was really
look,
happening or not happening, but if someone puts their hands up and the other person walks the other way, I'm just curious what kind of, I've never heard this story. So
yeah.
what happened in that interaction?
I'm,
And
I'm
then
just trying to see
obviously
what was popping, Malcolm. I'm gonna keep it real. I'm gonna keep it
Man,
100
look,
with you. Hey, I'm like, when I saw that, I was like, oh, dog, man. Someone said slick.
yeah, nah,
We
yeah,
got to
yeah,
correct
yeah.
that. We got to
No,
correct
for sure, for sure. I definitely should have grabbed Johnny's face mask and got me a couple followers on Twitter or something. You know, nah, but you know, he was getting trolled all game, suspended for the first half.
right.
And so, just quick backstory, man. So I think, in fact, I think we might have been down by 3.
Okay.
It was a close
Game was
game.
tight,
It was a
man.
really close
Close
game.
game in the first half, and so we like, yo, we in Kyle Field. It's crazy. Like, we just balling. I mean, of course, dude is not there, so
Right.
um, keeping the game close, keeping it manageable. And I was like, all right, so we're gonna have a chance to win this. And I'll never forget. I think his name, number 84, Malcolm Kennedy. He
Okay.
he's like, hey, it's over. And I'm like, it's over. Like, and they were getting like really excited about the fact that the second half was coming. And I'm like, I mean, okay, man, I get it. Like, but I ain't never seen anybody this excited about the second half. Like, we about to lead the field, come back. I'm like, okay, so here we go.
Yeah.
Come out to the field, and like we know that Johnny's about to just come out, and the crowd's gonna go wild.
Right.
Does this little
Oh
money
yeah.
joint, and
Right.
Oh yeah.
literally, I couldn't hear anything. It
God.
was so loud. Like, it was the loudest thing I've ever heard in my life.
So the 12th man is real.
Oh, I thought it was 24. I said, this is ridiculous. Now,
Yeah.
it may not be real now because you see what happened today. But I mean, there's stuff out there. But
Right.
man, it was going crazy, man. And just to see this cat and the energy and the effort that these other receivers and how the linemen were blocking, I've never seen it. And all respect to Johnny. Dude is probably one of the coldest. I
Yeah.
thought he should be doing what Kyler Murray's doing right now in the league.
Man.
But whatever it is, whatever you're going through,
Right.
I mean,
Right.
but dude,
Right.
as a quarterback in college, baller. Could you imagine what we be doing right now with this whole NIL deal and stuff like
Oh
that?
my gosh, he would have
It'll
been
be
Well, he
crazy.
wouldn't
ridiculous.
have been suspended for the first half of that game.
No,
Right.
never, man. The dude
We
was
know
on
that.
his feet were on wood
Mm.
in the finals games. Come on, man.
Yeah,
He
exactly.
chilling with LeBron, and that's supposed to be me.
Right.
That's supposed,
Yeah.
but nah, man. So they just scored. Mike Evans just scored. I felt like it was illegal. It ran like a
It was a little bit
little
of a
pig play.
rub, right?
Yeah, a little
Yeah.
pig play. Kind of miscommunicated on it. And I think Mike Evans had said something. I was like, get your, whatever, get home, Mike, whatever. Like, you supposed to do this, bro.
Right.
And then,
Right.
of course, Johnny gonna come to the rescue, and he say a couple like choice words that I probably don't need to say on here, but
Sure.
it's like, you must
Yeah.
suck. I'm like, okay. And he said some other things, and I was like, okay. I don't know who you think you are, but blase.
Sure.
And you
Right.
can get basically you can get these hands right now. And like, so
That's
I
what
said,
it looked like
Right,
was
right.
was
yeah.
happening.
Because at the end of the day, like, this football stuff is cool, man, but you're not finna disrespect my guy, and you ain't finna disrespect me.
Right.
I get that you good and you can be good and do all that, but come on, bro, come on,
Yeah.
man. And then, like I said, he had a choice word, and that's when Sumlin was like, "This is the stupidest." I'm like, "Yeah, get your boy, man, get him out of here."
Right.
Needless to say, Johnny came in, smacked us around, and then dipped.
Hey man, well, it's kind of like I mentioned earlier. You had this unique experience as a player that played against
yeah.
Johnny Manziel, which I mean that's not something you can get from a scout or something you can get from.
Right.
I mean, like that's coming from a dude who played against him, who
Not even
literally
close,
saw the players, the teammates of this guy
Crazy.
come out on a whole nother level. So my question is, because you also, it's like you started the season against Johnny and you ended the season against Dak Prescott.
At
Oh, yeah.
Mississippi State at the time, right?
Yes, in the bowl game.
Yep.
And it was actually Dak's first season where he took over for the guy who got injured early that season. So it was his first year as a starter. But a lot of people kind of thought that Johnny, and you kind of even just alluded to this, Malcolm, would be kind of having the career Dak's having right now. And then that Dak would have more of a career that kind of looked like what Johnny's ended up being. Not for the same reasons, but just, you're a fourth round pick. There's not this high expectation. You don't expect a fourth round pick to be a $40 million quarterback,
no doubt,
5-6 years later. So my question is, with that same insight you kind of just put on with Johnny Manziel, was there anything like that with Dak? I mean, were there any moments where you were like, okay, this dude might be something, or was it just kind of like, I mean, really, when he took off, it kind of surprised me?
I think like a little bit of both. And
Okay.
I'll be lying to you if I said I thought he was going to be what he is. Because I feel like right now, Dak Prescott is probably one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL, and he's getting better each year. Like, he's noticeably getting better, not just as a leader, but as a ball player. And you can tell.
He on a
some
different
of the,
level this year.
Yeah, man. Some of the throws he's making, like he wasn't making a couple years ago, decision-wise as well. But he's noticeably improving. But I knew Dak was going to be good when he was bigger than all of our D linemen. And so I'm like, bro, like, who is this bald head dude? Like, if you choosing to go bald, I know you good. Man is bald by choice, right? And so it was one time, like, man, we are getting just whacked, bro. Like,
okay,
I think early on it was close. I had a chance to pick him off. Oh, crazy. Let it get into the body.
Oh.
Drop the pick. No wonder they left me on defense.
I was about
That's
to
what I'm
say, well,
saying.
Malcolm, maybe that's why the receiver thing ain't work
maybe
out.
why
But
they
you
say you
know,
gotta go to
I
DB,
know,
bro.
man. That shit, man. This is why you over here, man. But nah, man. He's like, this is a big dude. And I think at this time, Dak is like 240, man. I can't make this up, man. Like
his
he is,
calves are like the size of your head.
dude. He is a monster. And just
Yeah.
to see this dude running at you, I'm like, yo, like what do I do? This dude about to run through my soul. And so, me and my roommate's name was Jalen Finner, man.
Okay.
He coaches at Texas A&M Commerce with Coach David Bailiff now.
Okay.
So
Your head coach at Rice,
yeah,
correct?
former head coach, yes
Yeah.
sir, yes sir. And we're about to tackle this dude. I'm like, yo, we about to tackle Dak Prescott, man. And he puts his shoulder, and we both go backwards. He ain't keep going, but I mean, like this dude is big, man. And they had
Yeah.
cats on the team, Dylan Day, Gabe
Yeah.
Jackson, like
Yeah.
Perkins, Fred Ross. I mean, like
Oh yeah.
these.
They weren't a slouch.
Was that the
Yeah.
Tyler John
Nah, man.
Tyler, right? Fred
Yep,
Fred Ross? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yep. And like I said, you had bowl games and you have all the festivities. Our
Sure.
biggest lineman was eating. We had a barbecue competition, and Gabe Jackson is looking at this dude while the time is starting. And my dude Matt Simonet, he eating away and he going hard, and Gabe Jackson just takes them slabs of ribs and just. I'm like, yeah, okay. I don't ever believe we're gonna lose, but it's gonna be tough.
Right.
It's gonna be tough. But yeah, man, Dak, man, just as a leader, quiet cat, man. Never really talked a lot of trash, but
Yeah.
uh, just a tough nose football player.
Yeah.
And
Right.
like I said, man, he was like when he started, like he was much more of a runner than a passer, but he had a little bit on his arm. But
Yeah.
man, I couldn't imagine playing Dak Prescott now.
Oh.
If he was, man, he would have been incredible. So yeah, playing him, man, Johnny, it's crazy.
B
So,
Holmes, you got anything? Because I got another. If
oh
I
no, go
wanted to
ahead.
get okay. So before I kind of get you into talking about what you got going now,
Okay.
what's just? I mean, you just gave us two like just gold content with the Johnny and with the Dak, but
Man.
now let's get off of them, right? Obviously, those
Okay.
are names that everybody's heard of and
Yeah,
people
for sure.
know.
For sure.
What's your favorite college football Rice story to tell? Like what about Malcolm? Like about you? Like what's your favorite from your playing days at Rice? And let me even take it a step further. Maybe you take it back to high school. What's your favorite playing day story? Whether it was some on the field, in the locker room, practice, whatever.
Oh,
Tell me
man.
what's your favorite memory from your playing days?
Man, you got a few. And the locker room, to be honest,
Absolutely.
the locker room is incredible.
Mm.
And when coaches tell you like you'll forget, the games. Now I ain't forgetting a lot of games. I have forgotten a lot of games, but certain games you don't ever forget.
Right.
There's locker room instances, man, that are too good for video, man. That you just,
Yeah.
man, they're just so good. But we're in the locker room. I think it's uh, get a little rain delay or whatever, and we just
Okay.
start having crumping back then was like
Okay.
the
Is this high
deal,
school or
right?
college?
This is college.
Okay, college.
I'll give you a high school one in a second, and then
Where are y'all
but
playing at now? Hold on. Set the
we
like.
are no. This is practice. This is in fact this is
Okay,
Yeah.
I
practice,
got you.
man. This is
Okay,
practice,
practice.
man. And so
We
uh,
talking about practice.
we talking about practice, man.
Okay, all right.
And so I'm always up to something in the locker room. Got the music going. We trying to either rap battle, but we just having different battles, man. Dance battles was just funny, making people dance who don't want to dance, man.
Right.
But I give you one. This is actually pretty good. So I had this thing called What It Do Rice You,
Okay.
and it was like a little webisode on like YouTube. Yeah,
Okay.
these
Okay. What it do,
and
Rice? You.
yeah, and so Rice, it wasn't like the funnest campus. So me and my
Okay.
roommates tried to make it fun, and we just go
Right.
around shooting different videos and content. Study hall, we go out to eat and things like that. Man, it was just hilarious, just how we could just make something out of nothing. It's not like
Right.
we did anything crazy, but
Right. Right.
just trying to make the life of college uh,
Come to
Come to
life.
life.
come to
Yeah,
life.
basically
Right.
come to
Yep.
life,
Yeah.
man. So my boy Dreyfus, he orders pizza with a Burger King mask on. And we
Right.
just talking trash to the pizza man. That'd be crazy. We're just, just trying to get a laugh. We're telling people to stop at stop signs and they just keep rolling through,
Yeah.
just patrol, just kid stuff. And then Coach Bailiff, uh, that's my guy, but we beat Kansas.
Okay.
Now I know not beating Kansas now
Hey, it's a
is
Power
nothing
5
great.
That's
victory,
a
You
though.
Power
know what
Five
I'm
victory,
saying?
man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Give you
is. It
that.
is.
Yeah.
But we beat Kansas, and everybody's going crazy in the locker room. I think Chris made a field goal,
Yeah.
and like his guy, his SID, Sports Information Director, is filming like in the locker room. What's going crazy? And I get a call in like, "Hey, are you filming in the locker room? Uh, if you are, you need to take that down. All that right shoe stuff. We're done with that." I said, "Coach, that ain't me. That ain't me." And so he does his whole investigating, finds out it's his own guy. He said, "Oh, regardless, I need you to take that down. Oh, I need you to take that
Ah.
down, Malcolm." I said, "Man, he done cost me so much money, man."
Well, I was just thinking though, y'all were on the front end of this whole
Right.
content
Heck
creating
yeah,
wave because
man.
I mean, Rice U, what it do, Rice U could have been
It could
putting
have
Man,
on
gone.
pay-per-view
Right.
fights on
Right.
Showtime with
hey, man,
Floyd Mayweather and doing
man,
all
you know what I'm
that kind of
saying?
Right.
stuff,
Yeah,
man.
he owed me a couple checks.
All
He owed me a
right.
couple
Well,
checks.
you said you had a high school one for us.
Oh man, high school.
And
I
then we'll
think
get to kind of wrapping this up.
easily it had to be uh playing Dallas Lincoln, man. It's crazy you say that because
Tell the story.
me and my wife were just talking about that.
Mm.
It's the second round of the playoffs, and like we have no business being there. Like we were the fourth, I think we're the fourth team in the district. We ended up beating a good Rockwall Heath team the week before, and we playing Dallas Lincoln, and it's like 42-42, and we're going back and forth in overtime. We
Mm.
score, they score, and me and Jay are going ridiculous in this game.
Yes.
This is
Like
your
we're just
junior year,
going out.
right?
Yeah, the junior
Your
year,
junior year.
like
Yep.
we're going ridiculous, man, and uh, end up scoring a touchdown. And coach, he was like, "Hey, we're going for two." And I'm like,
Mm.
"We going for two?" And he said, "If you don't get it, you don't deserve to win." I'm like, "Shoot, all right." I'm like, "Well, who getting the ball?" And he said, "Jay getting the ball." I said, "Shoot, that's cool with me. Let's roll." And then, so, as a receiver, I ain't never applied myself on blocking or anything, but I'm gonna throw my little block in there. So, but no, he ran a little outside zone play, man, and it was surreal. Like when he scored, like man, like what are we doing? Like
Mm.
what like we're here, like this is like a moment in time, but like that
Yeah.
moment is like something I'll never get, man. Him scoring and running around and people just chasing him. And I'm like, where do I go? What do we do?
Right.
Like we taking a picture with the gold ball and
Yeah.
the funniest picture, man, of one of the players. He looked like Gucci, man. That's why I was always funny. He was crying on the sideline. I was like, man, we crying tears of joy. He crying tears of,
Mm.
of
Right.
sadness and sorrow. But man, that's high school ball, man. And
Yeah.
that's
You
how
know
it
what I
is.
really remember about that moment, that game, more than anything, just being a Frisco kid myself.
Yeah,
I graduated Frisco High before there were
80 high
even
schools.
a second high school in town.
no doubt.
But when Frisco, like and then in my district, when I was at Frisco High, we were in there with like Denton Ryan when they had like James Battle and Jarvis Moss and Derek
Ooh,
Lokey. I mean, we're
I know.
talking
Y'all want to get
NFL
it. Yeah.
players.
Jarvis Moss is
Denton
a
High had
dog.
Anthony Aldridge and Herman
Yeah.
Moore, who went and
Yep,
played at
yep, yep,
LSU.
yep.
So it was kind of like playoffs.
Right.
Playoffs,
Playoffs?
right? Like
Right.
so. Then this new wave, just of growth comes in, and Frisco has more schools, and now they're getting into the playoffs, and they're competing a lot more at that. It was 5A, it was 4A at the time, but it's the
Yeah,
equivalent to what 5A is now.
for sure.
But there was always kind of this knock on, well, everything's spread so thin in Frisco that no one's going to get out of the second round. No
Right.
one's
No
going to get
doubt.
out of the second round.
Exactly.
And it really felt like y'all's team that year sort of broke through that mold,
Oh, yeah,
because I
no
think it
doubt.
was y'all and there was another team that it was either that year or the next year, kind of y'all made a run together. But it seemed like that Liberty team was really the squad that like showed the rest of Frisco like, no, we can
Oh, yeah.
go further than just the first or second round.
Yeah,
And then
good
y'all's
team.
next year when y'all just dominated
That was
everybody,
crazy.
went to
Right.
Cowboy Stadium. And then I look now at teams like Lone Star, who went to the state championship, Nick
Right.
Bolton, who's playing for the Chiefs now,
No doubt.
you know,
No
taking a
doubt.
pick six to the house against
For
Lancaster.
sure.
I mean, like, I look at what the schools in Frisco are doing now, and it all to me comes back to that moment
Man,
against Lincoln.
big time.
And like that's, I mean, I get a
Definitely.
little chill just
Man,
saying
no
that
doubt.
because
That was a
you
big
know,
deal,
not to
man.
sound over dramatic, but it really did, like, to me, like reset the trajectory for sports in that district. And now you look at what's happening, and it's just, I mean,
It's a powerhouse.
you coach there, and I mean, it's
Yeah.
just a
It's just
Man,
it's
it's
a
crazy, man.
factory.
it's a
Like, 'cause
monster.
I remember that because I remember like that was the knock on Frisco. We can never get past the second round. And I'm gonna just be honest, like, man, I'm a little bitter you guys went to Liberty because y'all were all supposed to be at Centennial.
Yeah, we were with
y'all were all
Coach
supposed to be-
Howard.
Yep.
Yep, Coach Mark Howard.
Anyways, yeah. But we all were also, because I remember that because that was my year. I remember when you guys had Coach McBride first, if I'm correct.
Yep.
And
Shout
he
out to
came and
Joe.
gave it. And I told Trey this. We talked about this. I remember him coming. So I don't know how far back you are behind these guys like Nick Slaughter, Jamarian Grant, Corvellis Cage.
Yeah,
all those
Corvellis
guys.
Cage, yeah.
So I remember
2 years. 2 years.
Yeah, I remember Coach McBride coming in and they separate us in the indoor, like, hey, these new guys, you guys are going to go to Liberty. Centennial guys, you're staying here. And I remember hearing Coach McBride give this speech, and I was like, how do I transfer to Liberty? This is where I want to play, man.
Yeah, man.
So I'm a little salty. Like, even though y'all were winning, I was like, dang, all them cats supposed to be at Centennial, man.
Yeah, no
But
doubt.
it really did change the mold, man. I think, like, so, you know, how does that feel when you look at it, like, really what you did really changed the trajectory of how our city is viewed? Because of forever, you know, we always had the knock. We're the suburban kids. We can't compete with the athletic kids.
All the Trey Smiths,
Dallas, you know. And now all of a sudden it's like, man, Frisco, we win. So how did that feel to kind of, that's your legacy that you kind of left behind?
I mean, you know, I never really thought about it like that, man. But when you put it in perspective, man, it's obviously it feels good. But you know, you just got to shout out to Frisco to being open to, like, the whole mode of Frisco is to try to give opportunity to everybody, and so that, you know, it's kind of like the blessing and the curse, right? You can get so good, and then they open another school and they cut you.
Yeah.
But I mean, we caught it, and that's the whole thing. You got to catch it while it's there. It's almost like you better take advantage of the moment, because in 2 or 3 years you're gonna be at another school, and then half your team is gonna be gone. But man, like, I think what really helped, and people like seem to forget, is when Katrina happened.
Yes.
We got a lot of
Got a
different
lot of
movements
plays.
from New Orleans, man. Like it really showed us, like, you know, other people out there, like, they ball too.
Yeah.
And it gave us, like, as black kids in the suburbs, like, we don't have to act like something that we not, because these dudes come from a totally different background, and they actually live, you know, a life that we see like on TV, and you know, some of us had to experience certain things. But I'll never forget Torrey Smith said, "Hey man, you don't want to live that life."
Right.
He said, "Don't do that. You do not want to do that." And I was like, "You ain't got to tell me twice. I'm good, bro. Like, I'm good. Like, stop acting like something that you're not. Just be who you are." And so that was kind of like our whole thing. Be who you are. Don't try to be anybody else. And it worked out for us, man.
Well, you couldn't have set this transition up more perfect with how you finished that answer, because now we talked about Malcolm Hill, the football player. All right, now I want you to talk about Malcolm Hill, the man, Malcolm Hill, the husband, Malcolm Hill, the father, Malcolm Hill, the coach, Malcolm Hill, the realtor. I mean, I could keep going. Malcolm Hill, just the M Hill, the thrill, right?
Right.
Tell us about, you know, what's your platform now? What's your cause? Who are you? What message do you want to put out there to people that maybe they knew you as a Rice defensive back? Maybe they remember you as one of those kids at Liberty that was dominating 10 years ago on the football field. Maybe they remember you as the dude that got the personal foul called on Johnny Manziel. You get what I'm saying, though? Like, different people listening to this may connect some dots somewhere along those lines, but now the platform's yours. The mic is in your hands. who are you? What's your cause? What's your why? What drives you? Like, I just want you to take a couple minutes to just speak to some of those things that you value and that are important to you. And man, you wear so many hats now as a
no doubt.
man and as a from a personal perspective and a professional perspective. And tell us about it.
Nah, for sure, man. Well, first of all, like I said, man, all glory to God, man. I can't. There's no way I can sit here and just tell you I've done it by myself. I got a phenomenal wife who also is a coach. She's the head coach at Argyle High School, and you know, if anybody knows, when you coaching in the same season, it's a lot of communication that has to happen. And then we got two young kids. Got a 2-year-old daughter, Ava Joy, and a 6 month, about to be 7 month old Kingston James. Shout out to LeBron.
Yeah.
So you know, or you know, like we say, King James version. But you know, either way you want to spin it. We got 2 kids, man, and this season, to be honest, has been incredible. Offense coordinator at Reedy High School. So, like I said, God is moving, and I'm just thankful. But
Reedy
with
High
that,
School, for those who don't know, listening,
Frisco.
is a Frisco high school.
oh yeah,
So you said
giving
OC?
back.
Is that what you just said?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay,
sir.
so a former all-district athlete at another Frisco high school went on to play at the collegiate level, is now back as an offensive coordinator at one of the campuses on the other side of town. So
No doubt.
keep going,
No
though.
doubt.
Not to cut
Yeah,
you off,
man.
but
Nah, all good. All good. Love the kids there, man. It's like I said, it's just the opportunity. Wear so many hats, try to do so many things, but how I kind of live my life is like quicksand. It's not what you see, it's how you see it. And
That's good.
so, quite frankly, there's a lot of things that we go through, a lot of things that we do in life, and so um, it's not like I said, it's not how you see it, it's what you it's not what you see, it's how you see it. Did I say that right?
yes. It's
It's
not what
not.
you see, it's how you
It's
see
how
it.
you see it. Yeah, it's not what you see, it's how you see it, man.
Absolutely.
And so how I see it, man, whatever comes, whatever rolls, I'm gonna go with it. Me
Yeah.
and my wife, like I said, I met my wife. I think we started dating in 2 weeks, got engaged in 2 months, married in 11 months. Been together for 3 or 4 years. Like I'm just, like I said, the way that I set my life up is, man, let's just go. Let's
Yeah.
just go. We'll
Yeah.
make it work. You know, God has a crazy way of answering prayers, and when He answers prayers, like we have a crazy way of asking, like, is this for real?
Yes.
Now you've been praying for it, so here it
Yeah.
is. So just pick it up and answer it. So, um, but man, like I said, I cannot complain about what's going on. Like a lovely family. I coach incredible kids, man, at Reedy. I love the game of football. Would love to give back to these kids and give them something I didn't have in high school. Not that I didn't have a great high school experience, but you know we can always make it better. And
Yeah.
so I want to inspire somebody to want to coach, especially on the west side of Frisco. It's a little bit more money over there, and I want them to just to see, like, man, like no matter where you come from, no matter where you at, um,
Appreciate.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Mm.
Appreciate the moments. I don't ever let them forget about what they have and where they are. So um, outside of doing that, man, I I just got into real estate a little over a year ago.
You better
Um,
speak on it.
man, look, if you need a house, holla at your boy.
Come on.
Rent, lease.
Yeah. Where can
Nah,
they
man.
find you, man? How can they find you if they want a house?
Man, you can look me up. I work for Keller Williams, Frisco Stars.
Okay.
Just Google me. Hopefully, you find something good
Malcolm
outside of,
Hill.
yeah, no doubt. And I just, like I said, email. I'm free. I try to, you know, maintain football when it's football and on the weekends. Do a little real estate. So,
You know
you
what
know, I'll
we'll
be
do
happy
on
to help.
that tip, B Holmes? We'll go ahead and we'll sponsor our True Minute Drill.
Yeah.
With Malcolm, you can send us like whatever info, and we can plug it all on that. So that gives people a reason to go listen to our True Minute Drill. But we
Yep.
will make
No
sure
doubt.
that it's sponsored by Malcolm Hill. Malcolm, let me just tell you something, because obviously as we continue to build this podcast and get guests on, and it'll probably be more of a 15-30 minute window, and you know, you kind of just get a brief glimpse into that person, and people who don't know you, that's pretty much what they got. But as someone who's known you, gosh, I mean, we go way back, because
Nah,
I
no
remember
doubt.
when I was a struggling little poor man's youth pastor, and you were a
Yeah,
middle school athlete
man.
in Frisco, Texas. That was when we first connected, and then
Yeah, them ice whites look like elastic.
that's right.
Come
Yeah,
on,
you
boy.
better tell them. You better
Man.
tell them.
Yeah,
They just don't know. They don't know
Trace,
Frisco.
baby.
Just
Come
ask
on,
about
man.
me. Ask
Trace,
about me.
baby.
But anyways, and then like our journeys would kind of reconnect as we got down the line, whether it was with, we did the song for Liberty, and then we ended up working together.
Yeah,
And
coaching
so,
together, man. That was awesome.
If I had to describe you in one word, okay, and I feel like this whole interview just encapsulated this one word of who you are, is anointed.
Man,
And
I appreciate
so
it.
I just want to encourage you, as someone who joined our show as a guest, to continue to walk in that, because
Yes,
I
sir.
feel like that even though your football career is over, just hearing you speak about the things that you got going on now, like God is only getting started with what he's going to do in and through Malcolm Hill's life. And so that was impressed on me to share with you. That's what I believe about you. I've always felt that way about you. I think anyone who's worked with you, coached you, been coached by you, been in your sphere of influence in any kind of way, could not disagree with the fact that you are an anointed man, and you carry a different spirit about you. And so I know I've been inspired, and I hope that our listeners have been inspired. And I got one last thing is, yes, you were a special guest, but we are going to get you back on in basketball season. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Come on, man.
Because
Come on, man.
I also just going to put a teaser out there. Malcolm and I had an argument about 6 years ago about who would have the better NBA career between Malik Monk and De'Aaron Fox. And he doesn't want to admit that he was wrong, but we're going to revisit that when we get to basketball season.
So De'Aaron Fox's career is not better.
Bro, I said De'Aaron Fox.
No, look,
we're not getting into it right now.
We're not even putting that on. We're not even putting that on wax, man. We gotta make sure that that's valid though, because I don't recall that.
I'll go back through the text.
Say he got receipts.
I don't recall that.
I'll go back through the text. I also have a witness, Brady Stone. If you're listening,
he's not a valid witness, because
he is a valid witness,
because his judgment in
we don't have to get into that, but I know where you're going. We don't want to throw any kids under the bus, but I know where you're going.
I'm not saying no kids' names. You know that.
Okay.
Behold, man. Get your boy, man.
That's it. Timeout. I'm calling a technical, calling timeout. So, B. Holmes, you got anything?
No, man. I just want to say thank you, bro. It's been great to see your growth. It's been great to see who you've become. As Trey's kind of had these interwoven moments with you, I've kind of watched you from afar, and it's been cool to see your trajectory, man. Like, coming through the ranks, as we all know, like Frisco, though it's big now, it used to be small.
Man,
like names kind of flutter through, man, and you kind of keep it. Hopefully this doesn't sound creepy. I've kind of kept tabs on you through the years.
No.
Every now and I'm like, I wonder what happened to Malcolm Hill. I wonder what happened to Malcolm Hill. And like every time I kind of pop in and check on you, it's like, wow, man, okay, dude, he beat the odds, I was having this conversation with a friend the other day, and my mentor said it to me like this. He goes, I remember I was right before I turned 30, and I was kind of processing some things, and he goes, 98% of people don't live their dreams, but the 2% does. But it takes a special kind of person to get those 2%. It doesn't mean you're talented, that you're the most talented or the most gifted, but you're the one that's relentless. You're always pursuing to be better. You're always pursuing greatness. And from afar, man, I can say I see those things in you, man. You don't get to where you are and accomplish the things you accomplish without making those things happen and kind of having that relentless approach. And so, man, it's just really cool, like, to have this, for me, full circle moment from somebody I've been watching probably since you were in middle school. And to now see, because when you're in middle school and like I think I'm in high school and we're going to college, like the age gap looks huge, and then as you become an adult, you're like, well, our age gap isn't that big. It's not that big, but to watch the growth, the development, man, how you even handled influence at such a young age. Because if people don't know, if you play high school football in Texas and you're the man, it's like playing for an NFL team. Like, you have a lot of influence. Watching you handle that and who you become, man, it's kudos to you, bro. Like, this for me is a really cool interview to kind of see this.
No doubt, man. No doubt.
Been quiet in it because I've been kind of basking into like Man, this is
Nah,
this is really awesome to see, man. So,
nah, it's
man,
good.
thank you for joining us, man. I always appreciate it, and man, looking forward to getting you on in basketball season because
Oh
I
yeah,
need to
for
hear some
sure.
of this argument.
Hey, look, I'm ready to argue with anybody, and
Oh,
let's
we
not
know.
let's
I
let's
know.
let's not make sure that you gotta keep Trey under your watch, man. This dude just be he come with some falsified information, man. I
No.
don't really know, dog. But yeah, man,
Yeah.
anytime. Man, I really appreciate y'all, man. I love what y'all doing. Like I said,
Same here.
when Trey had hit me up, I said, oh, it's no doubt. Anytime Trey hit me up, it's no doubt. But yeah, just the fact that y'all just decided to get it started, and and that's kind of like I said, man, just too busy saying no to yourself. But when you say
Hmm.
yes, man, a lot of things can come
Awesome.
about. So y'all keep
Absolutely.
growing, man. It's dope.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely.